a seat. I'm going to get started. If anybody that's still standing would like to come in and have a seat, wonderful. Don't be shy. Ai escuela, ai conceito. Email tanasman, talitnitsin, taname, he desayach tanatin. Sha etasanatia tanok. Sha soleisen for Jim's falafel. Sha oleisen ethel besaikum. Sha let ethison ethel besayach. He lives in Quinzetta. I trust him. I'm honored to welcome everybody here today for such an important ceremony and recognition. I trust him. Thank you so much for being here today. Just your presence alone in this room is some very powerful medicine. And even if you've only come to spend a few minutes with us today, I raise my hands to you. So, we're going to start today with a prayer. And I'd like to ask Ruth Cook to come up and start us off.
It's so nice to see all of you with your bright colors. Reflects our feelings and how we feel about one another and supporting each other. Almighty God, our Creator, we thank you for the many, many blessings of family and of friends. We just ask you to be with us this afternoon. Bless our time together. And we pray that you will continue to bless this learning institution for all our young people, that they may be able to walk in this good path of learning out from one another. And the staff, bless each one, who keep this ground safe for all. We're so grateful that we have this learning institution for all our young people. And thank you for all the staff. We just thank all the ones that prepared the luncheon for us today and the gathering of our friends and relatives. It just gives us support to continue to help each other. So we're grateful, Creator, that you are here and hear our prayers and that you will bless each one and the time that's scheduled for this afternoon, that everyone will be blessed. So we thank you, Creator, for being with us now. All my relations.
And now I would like to introduce Brandy Dick to acknowledge and welcome us to the Camosun Board.
Hi, it's CMCA Wishwalapon. Hi, it's CMCA Wishtalcha. Namakwa Tia Squacha Talakwanan Kami. Asa Yakwalatin, Ahinat Lakwangin, Ahinat Mamlakla, Ahinat Yedidak, Ahinat Mani and Scottish. Good day, my relatives, and good day, my friends. I'd like to welcome each of you to our Lekwungen lands. My name is Yakwalatin. My given name is Bradley Dick. I'm really honored to be here today and thank Camosun College and Eddy for the invite to be here and to share this beautiful day with you. I thank you on behalf of our Lekwungen community, now known as the Songhees and Esquimalt First Nations communities. For those of you that haven't heard me say this before, Lekwungen means place to smoke herring. That was one of our main trade economies and foods as the Lekwungen people. It was one of our staples. When I read about the meaning behind the orange, I couldn't help but reflect on what the experience might have been like for my family, for my parents. When I thought about the word survivor, it contradicts how I see my parents. For I see them as compassionate, loving, and protectors. Has it given me that strength to do the work that I need to do so that my children and my granddaughter don't have to experience any of that historical trauma. So my gratitude to our family members, to our elders, and to the ones that have gone before us. For they have paved the way for us so that we can move forward as a community. And those steps may be small at times, but the steps will get bigger for our next generations. And what a blessing that is. So I thank Camosun for opening up their beautiful Leyland, their beautiful home, so that we can gather strength together to move forward. I'm going to sing the Paddle Welcome song to not only acknowledge each of you here, but to acknowledge the gifts that each of you bring into our circle. Those gifts extend beyond your presence and align with the gifts that each of our ancestors have left with us as well. Oh, to unite us here, to our elders and chiefs that are here with us today, ourselves, just raise my hands to each of you as well, to our dear family that prepared the food for us today, and just want to close with something that I experienced earlier this week. I got to go to a reading by Louise Haff, who is a Cree poet, and she was doing a reading at Open Space Art Gallery. And one of her phrases really stuck out for me in one of her poems. And it was simple, and it spoke to me on many levels. And the first was, she said, I wander, calling inside my own name. I chewed on that for a while, and I wondered, what it meant for myself. And we each spend time wandering and exploring who we are through our own experiences. And then I thought about that calling inside, that self-exploration that we do as individuals, and how important that is. And then it's call your own name. We learn about our own identity, who we are as individuals. But what it reminded me of was that on our journey, often we're called upon to look after other folks. But my encouragement is that we remember to look after ourselves along this journey as well. So be well. Thanks.
So next we're going to hear from the president of Camosun College, Sherry Bell. And I'd just like to acknowledge that she has been instrumental in making this day happen and instrumental in making this day continue to happen annually. So Sherry, if you would mind coming up, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Bradley. That was a wonderful welcome to us all. And I'd like to acknowledge and recognize the Quamin people and the Sandwich people whose traditional territories we at Camosun work and learn on together every day, and that we're together today on this really important day. I'd like to extend a huge welcome to our community, our Indigenous community, the community of Victoria that have taken time to be with us today, and the Camosun community, our students and staff that have joined us. It actually takes a whole community to put on an event like this, and the fact that we are together and connected the way we are through this afternoon, I think will have a larger impact on the message that we're going to be hearing and spreading to the larger community in British Columbia and across Canada. And we are so very proud of the fact that we have two students that actually initiated and led this event, and Charlie and Kristin Spray have been unbelievable. And if you've met them, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because no is not an option when you meet the two of them. I was really fortunate a year ago when I arrived. I met Eddy and Kristin very quickly after I got to Camosun, and they talked about Orange Shirt Day and wanting to make it something substantial for our community. And you've achieved that today for sure. And I want to thank you so much on behalf of everyone here for your hard work, your passion, your commitment to making sure that we all understand a little bit more about residential schools and the impact it's had for a number of generations in our community and in our country. And without your work as students, this wouldn't happen. This is a student-led event, which I'm also incredibly proud of. We at Camosun for over 25 years have led the province, I believe, in Indigenous education 25 years of Aishkwalin and the leadership of the people that you see here today in ensuring our Indigenous communities are involved in the programming and in the work that we do for our Indigenous students. Last year, we spent the year reviewing the 94 recommendations that came out of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission report, and have worked we worked hard to create our own actions. We have 39 actions that we are committed to, and we have names beside those actions, and we are going to see what we've committed to come to fruition within the next 5 years. One of those actions is taking place today, and that is to make Eddy's and Kristin's dream come true about having this event be an annual event at Camosun. This afternoon is going to be difficult in some parts for sure. We have a very difficult past as a country to come to terms with and to make right. And by listening and learning together, by talking about what occurred in residential schools, and most importantly, by taking action, will help us on our path to healing and on our path to reconciliation as a community and a country. Justice Sinclair said that education brought us here, and I really truly believe education is how we will move forward together. So on behalf of Camosun, I'd like to welcome you all and thank you for coming, and thank you, Eddy and Kristin, so much. Thank you.
So today we're gathered to honor and recognize the 150,000 Indigenous students that were sent or that attended residential school. I'd just like to mention, just to recognize my parents as attendees of Camosun Island and Mission residential schools. I'd just like to acknowledge the impact that it has had on all of our people, and just to recognize the strength and resilience that has brought us through to exactly where we are today. Today, the day is going to go a little like this. We'll be hearing some beautiful music from the sound faculty of Aishkwalin as the Grace Assembly today. We'll hear from Alex Nelson, who is our keynote speaker. We will be inspired by Mary Tsawout, and we'll hear from her about the action that she is taking. We will also hear from artist Carrie Newman about the blanket that he has created to honor residential school students, and in particular his father. We will also hear from my friends and fellow students, Eddy, Charlie, and Kristin Spray, whose ideas and desire to share this day made it possible. I'd also like to take this time to acknowledge some important people that we have in the audience. We have our Mary Tsawout is here with us today. We also have MLA Carol James. We have Gary Holman, who's the MLA for Sandwich. We have Marianne Alto from the City of Victoria. We also have Miriam and Andrea from Van City. And they're responsible for a lot of the lovely shirts that you see in and around the audience. And with that, the designer of our shirts, his name, we've seen him this morning, his name is Bear Horne. Unfortunately, he had to leave us today. He's over here. reading class.
Hopefully my teacher is in the hands. Well, I just like to first of all thank everybody for being here today. It's a very important day for us, very important occasion, very good cause for us all to come together and acknowledge the past and some of the things that have happened with Indigenous people as far as residential school goes. And I'll explain a little bit about the design of the t-shirt. It was inspired a lot by my mother, who's a survivor of residential schools. She was in residential school until learning from maybe 4 to 12, and she was rescued from the residential school by my late uncle, Uncle Jones, who passed away 2 years ago now. But that was one of the major influences behind me creating this design. My mom, she protected me and my sisters fiercely. She was always watching over us, and she raised us in a really good way. And I think my uncle coming and taking me out of the residential school altered the future for us. It gave my mom a chance to protect her children, really be there for us. And my children, my wife and I have 3 daughters, and they're blessed to have my parents there to help raise them, teach them. So that was one of the major influences behind the design. And also just, it was very important to me to see the work that Kristin and Eddy are doing towards bringing one t-shirt to what it is today. Last year it was really successful, and this year I feel like it's even, they've reached even more people with it. And when I created this design, I wanted to give them something to help them in any way I can. I just wanted to use my teachings and the things that I've learned, things that have been passed on to me, to help them with their cause, and to help them bring recognition to the survivors and the non-survivors of residential schools. And so doing that, I included the bear. You can see the bear on the front of the t-shirt, and that's to help guide the path and keep us on a good path and keep going forward, and remind us that moving forward there's always going to be better things for us as long as we strive for that. And we have the eagle on the other side, which is there to look over us and also guide us and help us along that path that the bear is leading us on. And the 2 hummingbirds are healing. They represent healing and health and well-being, and they bring that with them. And you can see the 2 flowers encompassing the design, and those are to bring all of those teachings back to Mother Earth, and for us to remember to respect them and bring all of these things together. And so it was really all of these things and all of my teachings and just so many different aspects came into creating this design. And I just wanted to embrace that and have that, be able to give Kristin something as my acknowledgement to them for doing such amazing work towards today. And so, thank you again for letting me share the meaning behind it, and I raise my hands to everybody here for the question.
I want to continue on with the acknowledgements for today, because nothing like this is done by one person. There are a lot of entities that came together to make this day possible. So Van City made it possible for Camosun to distribute free of charge 300 orange shirts at Camosun UVic and within the Victoria School District. We want to thank Density for their interest in Orange Shirt Day and for their generosity to the students. I also want to acknowledge the work of the Camosun bookstore, particularly Kristin and Jeff, for supporting this cause. They initially were taking online orders for the shirts and got completely bombarded with orders. Ultimately, they handled almost 1,900 t-shirts, and some of those t-shirts went as far as Newfoundland. There are so many people, staff, faculty, and students within Edgewater, in the administration, community members, so many people involved in this day in support of Kristin and Eddy. And I just want to raise my hands to anybody and everybody who had a hand in making this day possible. So with that, I would like to invite the Edgewater singers up to sing for us again. if you get here early enough, you can hear them singing in this building every morning. It's just beautiful. We are honored today to have as our keynote speaker Mr. Alex Nelson. He is a Kwakwaka'wakw man from Kincoom Inlet, kind of Vancouver Island. He's a former student at the Original Sport, Wellness, and Healthy Competition amongst athletes from all over the continent. He is an educator to thousands of students who have learned from his story. He is a political advocate and a leader in his own nation. He is an elder for Surrounded by Cedar, which is an organization that works with Indigenous children who have been removed from their communities. And he is here today to share with us his experience and his hope. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Alex Nelson.
Mission kila kasa wala skiko na kada knowledge na kila kasa the palmus wina mission na kapos no kapos kila kasa Camosun gypsy apos kilako amaslo al gamula no kay kapos gapens no kola wanana. I thank the Creator for this moment. I acknowledge the Lakwana Nation for a wonderful welcome, a big heart, and the song that was, and the prayer that was sung. I've acknowledged Camosun College for your big house, your house of learning. I've acknowledged our elders. I've acknowledged all you people. And I want to zoom in on my basketball, volleyball friend, Gary Holman. We're not going to talk politics. As I was introduced, there was references made to where I went to school, and I was 7 years old in 1954, and I went there with my brother Frank, our head chief. He left us 2 years ago. And as we all do, we have a tendency of dedicating moments to loved ones, and I'm doing that right now with Brother Frank. And there's 5 of us in the Nelson family. Brother Frank, myself, Brother John, his nickname was Chicken Pie, and Brother Hank, and Sister Cindy. Sister Cindy was the youngest of us all. And then we had 4 Lagos members, so there's 9 of us all together. And at one time, we were all in that school together. And I just want to kind of bring myself back to that 7-year-old boy. When we're introduced to a system that was court-ordered, government-ordered by law. And I cannot imagine what our elders, our family, our moms and our dads, our grandparents felt this time of the year. September is a sense of renewal, of relearning in what we call schools. But us residential school students, we see it differently. We see that where children were taken away from their homes and they left a big vacuum, an emptiness, a darkness in all our villages. And this is across the nation. I can't even imagine that darkness. And so as a young boy, you get introduced to a system. And ironically enough, I usually have a PowerPoint that I make reference to. So I can't show you the picture of Alert Bay Residential School. But bear with me, and I say this in a humble way, Camosun. That building looks like a residential school. Red brick building,
It's split in a way that the residential schools were built, and that it is a school. The difference is there was a residential part of that schooling, and it took us away to go and live. It took us away from our communities, our families. And so you work on surviving what's been put in front of you. And today I look back on what happened. What happened within our families? Why are we so silent? Why are we so violent in many ways? Why are we lacking emotion sometimes? And I can tell you that there were 3 layers that seemed to always be consistent throughout the land. Junior boy, intermediate boy, senior boy. And what we were subjected to on a daily basis was regimentation. I knew from 6:30 in the morning to 9 o'clock at night, the routine. Year after year, day after day, month after month. So you got institutionalized. And the opportunity to interact, I'd like to think that when we were in that big school for all five of us at one time, do you think that we would act out our sisterhood, our brotherhood, our family bonds? Didn't work that way, because everything was so regimented. Later on in life, we pay that price. The relationship of love and care became distorted. Our interpretation of love and care gets distorted. And it carries over to treatment. How we were treated is how we then treated others. I work for Surrounded by Cedar Children Family Services. And I'm saying to myself, why is that service in existence? I just came from the Ministry of Children and Family Services to give them my story. And they are filled with our children. Why? And I know that the symptoms, the treatment, the interpretation of love and care was really hard to define and grab hold of and call it healthy. So the relationships really went our family dynamics, because we were then taken away from home. And then you go one step further and say, okay, Mom and Dad, oh, Mom, where's Dad? Oh, Dad, where's Mom? The separations, the divorces, separations, starts to lead into another layer of what we've become. Young girls becoming moms, unable to care for their children. So guess who's there to do their best to try to create safety for our children, the ministry. That came from the residential school, Saga. The other part is, I worked as a prison liaison worker for the Native Court Workers Association. And I remember going to Wilkinson Road Institute. And there again, it looks the same as what the memory prompted. A red brick building. I make my way to go and meet the warden. I go in the door, and I open the door, and woof, the smell of detergent. There's a certain smell that is there. And I said, geez, I smelled that before. Then I go in and I see a guard walking by, a jingling of keys. I've heard that before. And then I'm going to go visit the warden too, go visit the principal. All of a sudden, authority takes over you. Then it started to dawn on me. 2 weeks after my role as a prison liaison worker, I was asked by a guard, how is it, Alec, that you really touched base with inmates so fast? I didn't have an answer at that time. I now know that I was an inmate for 7 years, and I could relate to the prison systems. And so it's a fair statement to say that in our hearts and our minds, a lot of residential schools point at a prison and residential school. And then prisons are supposed to be set up for deterrence and punishment. It's supposed to be. But for a residential school, no. You would intentionally put yourself in jail because you have 3 square meals a day, roof over your head, you have color TV, you've got all the amenities for a pretty comfortable place because you've been there before. So the prison systems are filled with our people. So from a systems point of view, that's what we're facing right now. Now, in school, I'm a sports guy, and I look around and I say, what an awesome looking team. Good uniforms you got. Why I mentioned team in soccer and sport, that was my savior. That was my saving grace. Because we had a soccer field. And when you had an opportunity to get a soccer ball, a small soccer ball, go out there and play with your teammates, your members, that was freedom. Freedom to go out into that park and get away from that building, the smell, the look, the staff, the authority, the darkness. You move away from that for a moment. You think about freedom. So today people ask me, why are you so passionate about playing soccer? I still love it. And I love coaching young people. It's because it's freedom. It's not just a game. So when I start to churn and try to search for positive spin on what happened in the dark days, I say to myself, I just spoke to you in our language. And I'm looking at my mother right now, and I'm really honored and treasured to have her in my life, and my wife. And when we go and speak our language, that tells me we're still here. And for the first 6 years of my life, that's all I ever knew in our little village. For the first 6 years of my life, communal life was there. We looked after each other, family by family, community by community. We just did that. And we harvested the surroundings with respect and honor and fed off of the land in an awesome way. So when we start talking about empowerment, the cultural aspect of my life have really contributed to how I'm standing here. And people have asked me, how did you maintain yourself and cope with what you were subjected to? I have the loving care of family. I have a mother that embraces me and a father. And I then have the dances, our classes are still alive. So I have the cultural arm still there for me. So I think back on the residential schools and it's the same. It's one of those moments where it does have a double spin. I think about those people in East Hastings that have not the strength yet to come out of where they have come from. But I also think about and hope for the fact that those that have come out of it have the opportunity to share the story and tell and remind the nations and their children about that experience. I got 6 hugs when I walked through that door over there. And it quickly got to my father-in-law. He always says, heart to heart. Those were healthy hugs. Those were powerful hugs. And we learned how to reestablish relationships. And how do we pull it together? So, with that, I just wanted to come and offer a bit of those perspectives to you. And there's so many other teachings that become involved. And I got the no sign. Okay, let me go to the descriptive part of it. Usually I'll end off with a beautiful, beautiful song. And I received this song some 4 years ago when they had that big gathering in Vancouver, the Truth and Reconciliation gathering. And I ended up being in one of those workshops, and it was in theater style. And lo and behold, on the stage was this man singing his song, I Apologize. And he was a non-Aboriginal man. And I listened to his song, and he took me to a truth in my heart. And so later on, you Google it. His name, Gary Flegart, and it's called I Apologize. And there's a caption there of when he attended, he was invited to go to Williams Lake powwow. So he was singing this song in a powwow. And the images of his video starts to capture some of the images I remember. And Gary, remember the marching bands, and May Day, the celebrations, the Mission Indian Band, okay? Drumming, boom, marching accordingly, you're taught regimentation. And then I saw images of the Boy Scouts. You're proudly dressed in these other regalia. And so you have images of choirs. You have images. And then it just dawned on me, there was not one image that reflected who we were as a people, First Nations Aboriginal. So when they used the term assimilation, well, that's what was coming out at me. It was working. And yet we took great pride in that identity. I've been in a marching band with a uniform. And I think about that, and then this particular caption starts to end off, and it makes reference to spirituality, about God, you know. And at the end of the song, by that time the people had started to slowly gather and create a circle, as they just do all their lives. And then when they finish the song, they come through the middle, and then they cheer, they scream, cheer. And then the last image is all the huggings that started to happen in this presentation. I apologize. And I think about that man, when he composed that song himself, that he was so compelled when he heard stories that it hits you to the heart. And so Google it, YouTube it, and then it's called I Apologize by Gary Flegart. I want to conclude by saying that when you look around, who would have ever thought that this could happen? Who would have ever thought that this could happen? And I see our elders, my brothers, I see my family, I see my wife. She looks pretty cool with glasses. But who would ever think that a First Nations would have the gall to be standing here speaking to the people? The opportunity is there. The world is open for that to continue to happen and grow. And it is. And it is. So with that, I'm really, really honored to be here. And I can't wait for my afternoon coffee pretty soon. And I look for Carrie's presentation. And so with that, thank you so much for your kindness and your attention. I hope I have offered you some moments of opening up your hearts to understand some things that you may not have understood before. And when Grandpa didn't hug you because Grandpa didn't love you, that wasn't the case. Grandpa lost all emotions way back when somewhere. And we want, and we need our children to reestablish that for us. As my brother would say, I love you all. Great.
Thank you for reminding me how lucky we are to be right now as Indigenous students. We're so lucky to have Aichwal and be supportive of us in our educational time. Next, I'd like to welcome her honor, Mayor Tsawout, to come share a few words with us. Please join me in welcoming her.
Thank you very much. It's a real honor to be here. Alex, thank you for reminding us about the importance of love. When I was elected mayor, the day of the inauguration, I began with the words of elder from the Esquimalt Nation, Mary Ann Thomas, who begins by saying, "I love you, I care about you, and I respect you." So I want to begin by saying, I love you, I care about you, and I respect you. I want to acknowledge also that I'm a guest here on the Lekwungen territories. Thank you to the Songhees and the Esquimalt Nations for allowing me to gather with you here today. I'm here because Eddy asked me to come. Right? As someone else said, we don't say no to Eddy. And Eddy asked me to come because I think he's aware of some of the work that Mayor and Council are doing at the City of Victoria to really, like Camosun College, take seriously reconciliation. Not just by renaming rooms, we've done that. Not just by putting up totems, we've done that. But by learning all of the trauma that's happened, and by trying to understand how we as local government can contribute to the healing in a meaningful way. So Eddy, I think, saw that that's some of the work that we're doing. The City of Victoria has declared 2017 as a year of reconciliation. We don't know what that means yet, but we look forward to working with our First Nations partners to making it meaningful for them. It's very emotional to be standing here today with you on Orange Shirt Day. I wasn't sure if I was going to tell this story or not because it doesn't make my dad look very good. But he's in Ontario, so that's okay, I'll tell you the story. Probably won't meet him. I was a 16-year-old kid, and it was Thanksgiving dinner, and I was very dissatisfied with the stories that I was being told in my high school history class about First Nations and residential schools. I was enraged. I just couldn't see any justice in what had happened. And I thought I would discuss this at the Thanksgiving dinner table. Well, my dad said, "Oh, Lisa, it's all in the past. Just move on." But we can't just move on. And that's why we're here today, because of Eddy and Kristin and all of you. Because for too long, people like my dad have said, let's just move on, let's forget the past. But today, on Orange Shirt Day, we deeply remember the past. We remember the pain, we learn about your stories, and we're with you as you heal. So, because of Eddy and Kristin, the City of Victoria has declared today as Orange Shirt Day. And we've created a proclamation, and I would like to read that for you. But I would like to invite Eddy and Kristin to stand beside me as I read the proclamation, if they're willing. Whereas we must acknowledge that the Indigenous peoples of Canada helped make our country what it is today, and whereas, as we reflect on our history, we must also acknowledge the unfortunate chapters of violence, discrimination, and deprivation that went on far too long, as well as the effects of injustices that continue to be felt. While we cannot undo the pain and the tragedy of the past, we can set out together to forge a brighter future of progress and hope across Indigenous nations and the entire Canadian landscape. And whereas in this month of September, let us acknowledge our responsibility to ensure each generation is defined by a greater sense of opportunity than the last. And let us pledge to maintain our strong relationship with Indigenous nations across Canada. And whereas, by keeping this commitment and by endeavoring to shape a future in which every citizen has the chance to build a life worthy of their hopes and dreams, we can ensure that ours is a country that is true to our spirit and to our promise, to our enduring promise, as a land where all things are possible for all people. Whereas we honor and recognize the survivors of residential schools and their families. Now, I do hereby proclaim September the 30th, 2016 as Orange Shirt Day in the city of Victoria, capital city of British Columbia, and on the traditional territories of the Esquimalt and Songhees nations. Thank you. Thanks, Cassiana.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, for acknowledging our people and allowing yourself in the message to sing. I'd like to introduce Mr. Kerry Newman, who is the artist who created the Witness Blanket, and he's here to speak to that. Please welcome him.
Thank you. I too am here because Eddy asked me to be here. Last year, I was here because Eddy asked me to be here, and he found me because he saw a Facebook post about orange t-shirts I was making, and he came to just see what was going on and see if I could come and talk about the Witness Blanket. And that was when I first met him. This year he found me at a new workshop out in Tsawout, and I was carving away, and in came Eddy, and he had a brochure and another invitation, and so I'm here again. So thank you, Eddy. Yes, my name is Kerry Newman. My traditional name is Kyle King. On my grandfather's side, I'm Kwakwaka'wakw from Kukwekam, Kitsam, and the Wallaby clans of Fort Rupert. My grandmother was Tsawout from Chiam along the upper Fraser River. And through my mother, I am part English, Irish, and Scottish. I'd like to thank the Lekwungen people for allowing us to be here today on their territory. And I would like to acknowledge our elders, our chiefs, our community leaders, and our survivors. So, about 4.5 years ago, I was answering a call from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission call for commemoration initiatives. And I didn't really know what to do. I wanted to do something to honor my father. I wanted to do something to acknowledge survivors. And I went through the list of things that I do, carvings, paintings, designs, and everything that I came up with, no matter how grand I made it, no matter how much meaning I tried to put inside it, I felt like the idea was too small, and that there was no way that I could encompass the idea that I wanted to encompass following the methods that I usually follow. And that's how I came to the idea of gathering items. And so what the Witness Blanket is a piece that's, when people think blanket, they usually think something you could fold up and put in a box. And it's a fair bit bigger than that. It's 40 feet long and 8 feet tall, and it's made up of over 2,000 pieces of cedar that are strung together over stainless steel cables, and mounted on those cedar boards are items and photographs and documents that we collected from across the country. And each of them relates in some way to the residential school history in this country. And the vast majority of them come from survivors or the family of survivors who brought them to us. So that was about a year's worth of work to gather those items, and then another 8 months to build the blanket. And we opened it here in Victoria about 3 years ago now. And at the time we were thinking, well, we're gonna find a permanent home for it, and that'll be the end of this project. But as it seems to happen sometimes, the project takes on a life of its own. And now the witness blanket is back in Victoria, but it's been traveling for the past 2.5 years. It's been from here to Nova Scotia and back, and it's made stops along the way at various points. It was in Ottawa for the release of the 94 calls to action from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. It's been to the Museum of Human Rights, and most recently it was installed at Camosun House for the royal visit that we all hear about so much about. And it ended up there because my wife Elaine heard about Will and Kate coming, and she phoned me and she said, "Carrie, you have to find a way to have the blanket part of this tour." And I wouldn't have really thought about it, but once she put it in my mind, I started to think about what that would mean to have these pieces of history in the same space as the people who are representatives of Canada's colonialism. And it worked out. I had a strong ally in Her Honor at Government House, and she took the idea and made it happen. And so I think it was a very symbolic moment just for me personally to see representatives of our sovereign, blood relatives of the same people who signed residential schools into being in the same space as those pieces. And I was really happy to see the amount of conversation that we were able to encourage by it being there. And I think it brings up a really interesting question about what reconciliation is. Because we're all looking for it. We're all searching for it. And there's lots of different opinions about what that means. And I, having been following the blanket around and learning from the people we've met, I've kind of formed an opinion about that. I'm going to share it. First, I'm going to start by saying what it's not. Reconciliation is not clean water on the rivers. That's very important, but that's a human rights issue, and everybody deserves that in this country. Reconciliation is not equal access to education, because that's another human right, and that should be considered a starting point. That should be where we begin to build a new relationship. So I think reconciliation is something different. It's something deeper, and it's something that lives in here. And I think that what I've learned to refocus myself when I have to try to describe it or explain it is I go first to the truth. And Alex said that song
through that song, he found the truth in his heart. And I think that that's the key. Truth before reconciliation. And when we hear about the disparity between the words and the symbols and the actions, and we have people like Grand Chief Philip Stewart take a stand and boycott a ceremony, I think that it serves a very important purpose, because we need to make sure that when we say the word reconciliation, that we know what that means, and that we apply it across our life. And so, for me, that means truth. And I think if we live truth, then reconciliation will follow. And I also wanted to close by saying that I really love Orange Shirt Day. I love the message, every child matters. I think it makes me a little emotional to think about it, because I see my dad there, and I think about my daughter. And to me, the slogan "Every Child Matters" recalls and respects the past, but it also gives hope for the future. And I think that's what's beautiful about this entire movement. So thank you. I feel honored to be here. Orange Shirt Day, Every Child Matters. Kia ora koutou.
Very powerful words. I'd like to acknowledge my eldest son, the person who made me a mother. He's here with me today. He's my strength behind the scenes, and I'd just like to acknowledge him. So he's special. Next, we're going to be hearing from the Aichholman department.
I'm going to say a few words. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it if our staff could come and stand behind all of the calling in my staff. My name is Camosun Indigenous from the Chippewas Grand First Nation in what is now called Central Ontario. My Indian name is Tsawout, and it means Little Northland. And in our teachings, the North is the place where thought takes place, and rest takes place, and sleep takes place, and regrowth takes place. And the wind, of course, moves around all the time. The end of your words, Carrie, I had a memory of being at a graduation ceremony for School District 61, made possible by my friend Ella here. And I was sitting there in the Sunbeams Wellness Center in the gym, all this food had been served, and we were waiting to do the ceremony to honor the students. And I saw these three men. They were all men who changed the world in their own way. Powerful men. It was Eddy Alford and Paula Sept and Carrie Newman. And they were all there because somebody that they loved was getting honored that night. And they were all sitting with children, their children, all three of them. And I watched these three powerful men look at their children like helpless babies. The love in their eyes and their hands struck me with such depth. They were just in dads. They were at a place in their busy lives where they got to sit with the kids. And it was so moving. And I think of Alex's words of being pulled away from everything he knew and loved. And your words, Carrie, and the words you're going to hear from Eddy, and the stories that I know that our dear, dear friend Victor has shared with so many of the students that we serve here. Bradley's dad and his uncles. Most of the older people that are in this room. Me and Bernadine looking across the water at each other. When we were little girls and we didn't know it. And I think about how much I love my own life. And how much I love my mom and dad. And the terror and horror of being separated. And that's what we're remembering today. I'm so grateful that we've got guests from all over our community, the students, leaders, all hearing the story, all hearing these stories, all knowing that this is the truth. We are fallen. And all the people standing behind me. We are honored to be able to be part of the education of the people like Bear Horne, Kristin, and Eddy, and all the other students here who are going to continue to change the world. And we thank you for coming. My friend Butch says, things happen, they're supposed to happen, the people that are there are supposed to be there, and I'm sorry our technology fell apart for Alex. But you said what you were supposed to say, and for those of you who work in the college, we'll make sure that you've got the link to that amazing and heartbreaking song. So from my Chipola, thank you for being here. Thank you, Eddy and Kristin, for making this possible. Thank you for everybody who's here and who set this up and all that. Oh my goodness.
Next, I'd like to call Bradley Dick up so that he may sing some songs for us.
Thanks, Camosun. Just like to say thank you once again. And actually like to ask Eddy to come stand with me, please. I was approached by Eddy and my dad to compose a song to acknowledge today. And I was really honored to be able to do so. It allowed me to reflect on my family's experiences, allowed me to understand the sacrifices and the challenges that my parents went through in their experiences in residential school, both at Cooper Island for my dad and Port Alberni for my mom. My dad was fortunate when he came out that he was raised by his older brother that looked after him. My mother was less fortunate and became a part of the 60s group. In reality, the 50s group. So, I have many folks that have helped me along my journey in the teachings of our drums. My gratitude is always to my Uncle Ray Peters, who introduced my family to singing and drumming. And then as I got older, started to understand the discipline behind drumming. And then the words of Stephen Point, when we were singing and drumming with him at the Lieutenant Governor's house, he said, every time you pick up your drum and sing, it's medicine for our people. So I always keep that in my heart. And so as I thought about a song, and I thought of a way to acknowledge my beautiful family, my extended family, and relatives that, some of them survived. And some of them went on to their next journey. So this song is for my family and friends, to our community. And I thank Eddy for asking me to sing this. And I hope that this song will be passed on to Camosun College, so that each Orange Shirt Day, where every child matters, that you can sing this song at the beginning. So, thanks, Kristin.
Oh
CM. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you, Sam, for that beautiful song. Our final speakers for today are the visionaries and the people whose experiences and dreams made this day possible. Eddy asked me to be the MC today, and my initial reaction was fearful. And I was thinking from my head. My teachings are never to say no, and I said yes with my heart. And I'm so grateful that I am here today, because had I not been asked to speak, I probably would have shied away. So with that, I would like to bring up the people responsible for this day and who have worked so tirelessly from the whole of their being, from their entire heart. And I'd like to ask Eddy Charlie and Kristin to come up and finish off our day. Please join me in welcoming Eddy and Kristin.
So many good feelings in my heart today because you were here, joining together on one path, with a good mind, a good heart, a good spirit. I'm a visitor here on the common territories, as well as the Esquimalt nations, shared territories with the Lusanic people. I want to acknowledge the land that holds us up, that feeds us, brings light to our heart, to our minds, to our spirits. In 2013, I attended the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in Vancouver, and I heard Phyllis Webstad share her story of having her orange shirt taken away from her. I also heard other very courageous people share about their childhoods and being taken to residential school. Many people were sharing for the first time among their family members, to their spouses, in front of their spouses, their children, their grandchildren. Justice Murray Sinclair encouraged Phyllis Webstad to bring light and hope and resiliency to the awful memories that Phyllis sustained, and also her dread of the color orange. And so she courageously created Orange Shirt Day. Every child matters, and nobody will ever forget. And we will always remember every residential school survivor, those that didn't survive. I want to acknowledge all the older ones here today. For some, the term elders brings back terrible memories related to churches. So I want to honor the people who are here today who have expressed these feelings. In 2014, I came to Camosun College and entered the Indigenous Studies program. Because every story that I heard at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, every tear that was wept, every memory that was shared with me my responsibility to learn more. So grateful to be here. I'm afraid and nervous to forget anyone or anything. This day means so much to Eddy and to myself, to our classmates who sat together in a classroom in our first year in 2014, and we were scurrying around trying to find orange that we could wear and find out how we could raise more awareness on the campus so that everyone will know about the truth of this land, so that there can be healing and resiliency. So, although there are so many mixed feelings inside our hearts, we're also grateful that we have this opportunity to be together in circle. I don't have a speech plan. I'm learning how to speak from the heart. Sometimes it takes me a long time. I'd just like to acknowledge Victor Underwood of Tsawout Nation and the late Joyce Underwood, Tsawout Nation, the Pakwachin and Samana Nations. And Victor's sister, Bernadine, from Tsawout Nation. Every week, they sit with us in circle, and they share with us from the heart the teachings of their ancestors, and the knowledge and wisdom of their paths. And because of you, we are also here today. So I want to give thank you. Thanks. Haichka. Haichka Siyam.
Siam Hasas, the Nuntin, Julian Tinek, Samana, Yasin Quandas Deka, Yam, Manana, Haichka Siam. I want you to know it's for the common territory and the 5 Chinese nations for about a year today. Gives me extreme pleasure. I feel privileged to be here to bring this message of healing, to bring this message of unity to all the people that are gathered here today. I want to thank all the elders that are here today. I raise my hands to you for allowing us to bring our message to you. I feel honored. I feel filled with pride to see you sitting here today. I want to thank all the elders that could not be here today. It's a real honor for us to be able to bring our voice to a circle like this. I grew up in a culture where everything was in a circle. There was no beginning and no end. Everybody was an equal. There was no up there, there was no down there. What we hope to do with Orange Day is to bring that teaching back. I'm a survivor of the residential school. And residential schools started in the 19th century and closed in 1996. There were 139 residential schools all across Canada. This is a legacy. Where every one of us struggled with our heart, with our minds, and the spirit of our grandparents who walked on this land before us. To find that resiliency that sustained us for thousands of years. And they took us children away. We didn't have a choice. But our parents didn't have a choice either. 150,000 mothers and fathers had to watch as their children were taken away. And they knew what was going to happen. But they left something behind for us. They left teaching that's living in our heart, teaching that's living in our spirit. By coming together and standing with us in your orange shirt, you're teaching us how to find that same spirit that our grandparents lived with. I'm really grateful for the grandparents that I had, because I used to hear them sing songs all the time. Songs that no longer live in my heart because of what residential school did to me. When I graduated from my IST, the Indigenous Studies program, some of the teachers started to come back to me. I feel really honored to be here today. As I look around and I see all the orange shirts. I'm starting to remember all the pain of 150,000 children. I'm starting to remember all the pain of 150,000 mothers. I'm starting to remember all the pain of 150,000 fathers. These parents had to stand there with their hands clenched beside them as their children were taken away. I feel really empowered today to be able to share my story with you. I feel really empowered today to be able to tell you that every one of you, by coming here and listening to my voice, listening to Alex, listening to Carrie, and Sherry, you've grown medicine that been on the land before time. You're bringing it back by standing here and putting a medicinal blanket on everybody that's in the circle today. I'm hoping that it will continue to grow. As a survivor, I grew up in a world of violence, hatred and anger, and a lot of alcoholism. I quit drinking 19 years ago because I realized I was hurting myself more than I was hurting everybody else. Sometimes when I see people on the street, I try to recognize that the poverty, the alcoholism, the drug addiction is a byproduct of residential school. And I'm trying to be kind, gentle, and understanding. I want to embrace them and hold them up so that everybody can stand here again as an equal. Kristin came into IST 2014, one of my instructors was talking about Worship Day. Kristin wanted to create one here for Coastal College. So for every month, from September 2014 to September 2015, she kept asking me to work with her to create Worship Day. And I didn't to answer her because there was a fire in my heart. And when I looked at her one day, I saw what it means to be resilient. And I want to honor her for that. So I worked with her last September to create the first Ownership Day. And this is the second one we have here today, and I'm very grateful that Kristin never ever gave up on me. Kristin, I want you to imagine this. On your right, there are 150,000 others. They got their hands raised to you in gratitude because you never gave up, you never lost. And you always want to keep your vision and dream strong. Then you look to your left, and you see 150,000 fathers. Their hands clamped side to side, because they were angry because they couldn't do anything to protect 150,000 children. And then in front of you, you got 150,000 such grandparents. Their hands are raised to you in respect for what you did here by creating Worship Day, helping everybody realize that this vision and dream is powerful. Now I want you to look behind you. There are 150,000 children taken away from your races to parents, and I'm one of those ones standing over there behind with my hands raised. I want to thank you with my heart for never giving up and for bringing Worship Day to everybody that's here today. These people will bring that message back to your own community. So I want to raise my hands to you and say thanks for what you did today. I want to thank everybody here today. That's a beautiful, beautiful speech by yours. Now I've done better. And by the way, I do like you. Yes, you do know it. I want to thank Sherry. For allowing us to have this thing here. I really wanted it to be something that everybody could take home, something everybody can remember, something that they could share with everyone, their families, and people in the community. It takes the whole community to raise a child, and this is what Worship Day is all about. Every child matters. So I want to raise my hands to you and say, I thank you for allowing this to happen. I don't know if Franklin's here. I love you. You gave us the power to carry this dream. Your words were medicine. Your heart lifted us up, taught us how to walk with good intention. You gave us a vision, you gave us a dream, and you empowered us to walk with truth. I want to raise my hands to you, Kristin and I. You make it possible. Like that. Dan, thank you for Karina. You and your staff have made it possible. Every one of you, our hearts, we're saying thank you with our heart. It's very meaningful that you walked beside us, lifted our heart that we can let it fall down. I don't know if we could have succeeded without you. Powerful message that you share with the community, a powerful message that these people are going to bring home to their family. People are going to be as soon as well. I want to thank you very much. Bear! We love you. This dream that you brought to Kristin, it means so much to us that you visualized it. Look at all the people wearing your shirt today. Your shirts are in New Brunswick. Your shirts are in London, Ontario. Your shirts are on Will and Kate. Gordon Downing has your shirt. So it's Joseph Biden. But the best is there are so many survivors in this circle that you share down to me. So we raise our hands to you. I just got for sharing being with us and welcoming with us. Thank you very much for allowing us to bring worship today. Thank you very much for coming here and standing in support of Kristin, High School and Camosun College. We raise our hands to you and say thank you. I respect it.
Before we go too far, I believe that we're being honored today. And Eddy and Kristin, would you like to introduce our special guests?
Hi, everybody, I'm back. I won't make you cry anymore. This is Siobhan Pratt from the daycare, and I don't know the other.
And Lisa Stecklenburg, the Director of Child Care at Camosun Board of Governors, Lansdowne.
We went to daycare to teach the children the Irish got songs that are going to be taken part of the ceremony. We sing the X-Cut song, and the song belongs to Victor. And we raise our hands to Victor for allowing us to sing the song today. And I'd like to ask all the Camosun College students who have sang the song with us to come up, please.
If I could get all of the members of my cohort that know this song to come out, please, and we'll connect you guys over there.